Imagine you have complete knowledge of all credit cards that are available to you. There are multipliers, credits, protections, partner benefits, down to even what their concierge can do. Honestly, you can get pretty close to complete knowledge given the richness of information that is available on the internet, including Credit Card YouTube. However, this may not be enough when it comes to deciding what your next credit card will be. To do this requires a logical thought process that can thankfully be boiled down into 3 general steps, or even less, as we'll see later. In this video, we'll reveal those steps and hopefully make choosing your next credit card a much easier process. As much as I want this guide to be as widely applicable as possible, I must dismiss its usefulness when it comes to a specific set of people, that being those people who don't pay off their credit card balances in full and on time each and every month. No matter how well a card may align with your unique circumstances, its value proposition will tank when you're paying interest or late fees. Unless you're talking about a card with a promotional 0% APR period where you're trying to transfer your existing balances and you commit to diligently paying off your debt, there just shouldn't be a next credit card for you. And with that squared away, let's get into step 1. Given all of your possible options for credit cards, you'll want to establish their use cases. So specifically how you'll be getting value from those cards, at least in the next 1-year period. Here, I think it's important to have as much certainty as possible regarding how you'll be using the rewards and benefits. You want to avoid situations like getting a hotel credit card that comes with an annual free night certificate without any expectation of staying at a hotel in the next year, as you may end up seeing your certificate go to waste or forcing a vacation just to use it. Instead, a couple of good use cases could be getting an elevated multiplier in a category where you have consistent spend, like in groceries, or getting something with airport lounge access if you're a frequent traveler. Now, I understand that, especially with premium cards like the American Express Platinum, where there are many ways in which you can offset the annual fee, you might need some actual experience using the card in order to fully flesh out its value proposition for you. Like, maybe the Saks credit ends up being way more useful than you initially thought because you tested it on a gift card purchase at your nearest store and it thankfully triggered the credit. While I'd still try my best to know a card's use case in advance, it's perfectly fine to take the card for a 1-year test run and then cancel or downgrade if you find it not to be valuable enough. Sign-up bonuses exist on credit cards largely to entice us customers to use the card for a year, and in my opinion, a valuable sign-up bonus is a good enough single use case to get a credit card. At pretty much the same point last year, I decided that my next credit card would be the Barclays Advantage Aviator Red MasterCard, where my motivation was 90% driven by the sign-up bonus of 70,000 American Airline miles, which I knew I would be able to use to great value for my upcoming organic travel plans to Europe and Asia. Ideally though, if you can find a credit card that you'll also get great value from the benefits and features, then it's a great candidate to be your next credit card. Once you've narrowed your options to credit cards that have compelling use cases given your unique circumstances, then step 2 will involve optimizing the timing and pattern of your credit card applications. For those of you who just want to get 1 or 2 cards and stick with that simple setup for the long term, then this section is probably not going to be too relevant for you, but I'd still encourage you to follow along. In contrast, if you're somebody looking for a long and active credit card journey involving multiple applications, then you'll want to consider how applying for a credit card now may impact your approval odds for future credit cards. Across all major credit card issuers, there are just so many rules that serve to deter credit card churners, credit card maximizers, entice people to spend more money on their credit cards, amongst other things. Let's talk about 2 of the most prominent rules, starting with Chase 524, which states that if you've opened 5 or more personal credit cards in the past 24 months, you'll be automatically denied for any Chase cards. Now, say you're at 424 and you really want the Chase Ink Cash card for the bonus and the 5X categories, this Chase Sapphire Preferred for the bonus and access to Chase's transfer partners, and the Citi Strata Premier for similar reasons. If you want these to be your next 3 credit cards, then you'll have to apply for them them in the following order, starting with the Ink Cash, followed by the Sapphire Preferred, and then ending off with the Strata Premier. Any other order of operations would bring you to 524 before you've secured both of those Chase cards. Note that the Chase Ink, being a business card, does not show up on your personal credit report and thus doesn't count towards your 524 status. Another prominent and fairly recent rule is American Express's family language surrounding their sign-up bonuses on certain cards. Say you fly Delta a lot and you eventually want to get multiple bonuses from multiple Delta cards. Well, then you'll probably want to avoid getting the Delta Reserve, as doing so will lock you out of future sign-up bonuses on the lower tier Delta Blue, Gold, and Platinum cards. It becomes tricky, however, when, say, you'll be getting way more value net the annual fees from the Delta Reserve compared to any of the lower tier Delta cards, excluding the sign-up bonuses. Well, then it becomes an exercise of weighing the pros and cons, so determining which card has the best overall value proposition given what the card itself has to offer, and also how it affects your long-term quest for value. Oh, and one more thing. Periodically, there can be elevated sign-up bonuses on certain credit cards, and often that's a good reason for me to prioritize getting those cards. I'd recommend going to uscreditcard.com to see charts for historical sign-up bonuses, which can give you a good indication of whether there will be higher bonuses in the future. For example, here's the chart on the Chase Sapphire Preferred. We see several instances of higher bonuses, so we can have some confidence that another one will come in the future. But if we look at the chart for the US Bank Altitude Reserve card, which shows that the bonus has been 50,000 points since 2017, it's more likely that this lovely flat line will persist. And now we're ready to move on to step 3, which involves strategizing your spend. There are 2 ways to effectively do this. Firstly, when you're getting a new credit card, you almost always want to have the opportunity to secure its sign-up bonus. And assuming that you have that opportunity, you always want to meet the spend requirement to get that bonus. A common trap that people fall into when chasing a bonus involves spending on unnecessary things. Simply put, if you buy something that you're not benefiting from, I would deduct the cost of that thing from the value that you assess from the sign-up bonus. Now, you certainly can generate additional spend by doing things like prepaying on your bills or buying gift cards, but do know that there's an opportunity cost when you consider that you could have saved or invested that money for longer, and also you will reduce the opportunity that you have to do those things when chasing future credit card bonuses. All in all, if a spend requirement is higher than your anticipated organic spend, especially when you're also prepaying for things, then you probably want to avoid that card as your next card. Instead, maybe consider applying for it down the line when you're in a period of higher organic spend. Another way to strategize your spend comes into play when you're considering getting a credit card for an elevated multiplier. Multipliers have significant value only if you're able to put a lot of spend towards those categories, so you'll want to know with as much certainty as possible that you'll be utilizing those multipliers heavily. Here's a great example of a subpar approach. You pay a $95 annual fee to get the Capital One Saver card, primarily for its 4x multipliers on dining, entertainment, and streaming. Over the next year, say you spend $5,000 in these categories. No small sum, but realize that you only earned 5,000 extra points or $50 more in cash back, compared to if you put that spend on the Saver One card, which has 3x multipliers across those categories, but no annual fee. Effectively, you just came out behind $45, which is quite unfortunate and should serve as a reminder to all of us that getting new annual fee cards for the multipliers can be a great use case, but you need to ensure that you're utilizing that multiplier enough to largely offset the annual fee, at least compared to using other cards. So, in summary, when you're looking to choose your next credit card, start by rounding up all of your options and establishing their use cases, ideally with as much certainty as possible. Then, once you narrow down that list to the few credit cards that are valuable enough for you, consider whether applying for the card now is more appropriate compared to applying for it in the future. How you determine this is mostly by assessing each issuer's rules and historical bonus trends as it pertains to your own long-term credit card roadmap for maximum value. Finally, after you've eliminated a few more options, nail down which cards can fit your organic spending in the near future. You may end up with multiple cards that make the cut, but hey, that's a good problem to have, as there's really no wrong decisions you can make from there. Let me know below in the comments if you have any other criteria for choosing your next credit card. And if you made it to this point in the video, you might as well like the video and subscribe to the channel, where we'll continue to nerd out about credit cards and have a great time doing it. On screen is a prediction video that I had a lot of fun making, and I anticipate you will too watching it. Thanks so much for watching this one, and here's your card nerd signing off. Peace.